Hey guys, it's been a minute. I've been on the internet a lot, but I'm back. I'm doing the best I can. It is the 24th of June, 2020. Playing one of my favorite songs from the 70s, William DeVaughn. A lot of wannabe pimps and players used to love to ride their classics and their big hogs playing this song. A lot of stuff going on in the world. The COVID is still coming back. People are running around the Inland Empire as if nothing is going on. People are reinfecting, and the death numbers are going up and up and up. And people like me, we are doing the best we can. I'm staying in place, staying at home, doing projects around my house, getting things done. One day this may be over. It might be the new norm. So in the meantime, I'm getting my house ready in case I want to just get the hell up out of here. So all those little projects, that little honey-do list that you guys can't seem to get around to, now's the time to do them. You have nothing but time. People are desperate for work. In about 2 months, we're going to have a big housing bust here because $1,200 one-time stimulus payment is not going to help people here in California, much less the Inland Empire, pay their mortgage or their rent. So there's going to be a lot of homes up for sale. And it's just so sad because nobody seems to have the answer. Nobody's thinking outside the box. We keep electing these people that figure that, these minimum wage jobs is the way to go. And this is, what we're stuck with. And speaking of these people who have no clue what to do and where to go, we keep rehashing and chasing our tails with the same type of candidates. I'm Donovan Sadiq. I'm the Inland Empire Informer. And I'm based here in the Inland Empire, the city of Moreno Valley, next to March Air Reserve Base. Used to be March Air Force Base. When it was active duty base, it's reserve base now. And I've been a resident here for 43 years. I predate the city. And I have sat and watched for a very, very long time how things are done here in the city of Moreno Valley. I was a late arrival to the WLC wars. That's the World Logistics Center. And, money trumps everything, and the sad thing is when you don't have enough money, it's hard to beat these developers out here who are buying city influence. We need to get politics out of money, or money out of politics. Did I say that backwards? So anyway, I just got done doing an internet show, and I was talking about a candidate that I had previously ran against in a recall election. And in that recall election, if people had known that this person had been charged with grand theft, as she corrected me tonight, which is part of the problem of why she is flawed. Sorry about that, guys. People are calling in. I'm sorry about that. But that's part of the problem why she's flawed, is the fact that, and I don't understand why people always call me when they know I'm on air. So anyway, it's one of the problems why she's flawed as a candidate. I'm going to talk about Ladonna Jempson. And I'm not going to talk about her like in a negative connotation. I'm basically going to talk about her gosh, people keep calling me. I'm going to talk about her in regards to why she's such a flawed candidate. And this is the problem with Generation Fail. If you guys know my term, Generation Fail, that means baby boomers. Miss Jempson is an older lady, and you know, basically, I'm 50 years old. And, you know, at 50 years old, I'm considered a fairly, well, you talk to these young kids, you know, I'm an old man. So Miss Jempson would be equivalent to what my mother's age is. And I'm not exactly sure what Mrs. Jempson's exact age is because, you know, for her age, she looks she looks very good for her age. You know, she looks mixed. I think she's Spanish, and I'm talking about Spanish from Spain and something else. You know, I could be, but, you know, she looks very good for her age, and she's, you know, very nice lady. Don't get me wrong. She is a sweetheart of a lady, but we have some very, very big differences. And my mom is 70, so I would gather to say Miss Jempson's maybe a year or two older than my mother, maybe, or a year or two younger than my mother. I don't know. But what basically is I could be her son. Make a long story short. And in the San Moreno Valley, I ran against Miss Jempson in a recall election during the WLC wars. Okay. And Miss Jempson pretty much won that election out of popularity. And what I mean popularity is people kind of knew who she was. She was backed by this real fucked up Democratic club of Moreno Valley. They make this person run. Okay. And she runs and she doesn't have a platform. Now, I'm a political junkie. And when I ran, I could tell you specifically things that I was going to do. Specific. Just, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. You didn't get that out of Ladonna Jempson. She was running on the corruption and the investigations that were going on. And she was like running down the recalled candidate who was a criminal, Victoria Baca. Don't get me wrong. Victoria Baca did deserve to be recalled. There's no doubt about that. So the recall election came down to, once Victoria was recalled, it came down to she and I. And, you know, people didn't know who I was. I was newly out of the military, and nobody knew, you know, what I was about, okay? Did a background, nothing on me in the background. I mean, you know, people were just digging. They just couldn't find anything. And, you know, and unfortunately, I lived a military life. I was a military kid, and I joined the military right after high school. 2 days after high school, I was in the military. So any of my quote dirt is sealed in a military record, because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, I was this perfect guy. And so I was a young kid. I joined the military, I was 17. So I made a few mistakes while I was in the military. There's no doubt about that. But you're not going to find that in the civilian record, because as far as the civilian world was concerned, I basically didn't exist, other than a light bill, a gas bill, a cable bill, a cell phone bill. You know what I mean? I didn't really exist. So I was in the military world. So she ended up winning the recall election. And once she won the election, she didn't know what to do, because she didn't have a platform. Okay? So then, during the 2 years that she's sitting on the dais, a story comes out that was dug up by Highland Fairview, or Highland Fairview affiliates. I don't care how you want to say it. It comes to find out that Miss Jempson was involved in a grand theft in a bank. Now, tonight on the show, I just simplified the thing for, you know, us basic people. You know, if you steal anything in a bank, I consider that bank robbery, and most people do. And the problem with baby boomers is, number one, they fucked up the country. Okay, these are the people that were the most transformative generation ever, right? They ran the 60s, they were counterculture, they did all these great things. But you know what the problem with the baby boomers is? They don't know when to quit. They don't know when to let others go. Now, I'm a Generation Xer. Leadership for Generation X has been totally skipped over, right? We don't even get leadership. And then these baby boomers, Generation Fail is what I call them, wonder why there's such a drastic difference between the way they think and the generation that's going to be taking over leadership and the socialism aspect of it, and gimme, because these are their grandchildren, and in some cases their great grandchildren, and they keep forgetting you were the grandparents that gave these kids everything. Didn't make them work for nothing. And the Generation X generation, my generation, we are the generation that most closely resembles the baby boomers with some significant differences. You know what I mean? We're a little bit more liberal probably, or progressive, depending on what side of the spectrum you lean on. So I'm on the show today, and of course, my show is so boring and nobody watches it, and it's a joke, and oh my gosh, what a waste of time. And all these groups say that because after I lost the election, just because you lose an election, what you fight for doesn't stop. At least it shouldn't. And it didn't stop for me. So I remember, I think it was Windows, operating system was Windows Vista, or I think it was still XP. No. Yeah, I think it was Windows. Yeah, I think it was Windows Vista I was still on. And Windows 8. Something like that. It was one of those windows where the movie maker was in the operating system. And I went into my garage and I used a simple camera. And I just started talking about local politics and what I wanted to do and what should be done and how it should be done, right? And everybody was laughing at me. I remember the first 2 weeks, nobody really watched the show, and I'm putting it up there and people are just like, what the hell? Look at this guy, what a clown, But even though I know people were laughing and stuff, some people liked it, whatever I was doing, because it was very generic. I mean, I look back on them now, and most of these videos are archived on YouTube. And I look back on it and I say, wow, man, I had hair back then too. And I kept going, and I'm still doing that to this very day, and since I started in my garage, I converted my garage into a studio, and I started a podcast, which is what you guys are listening to right now. And I even upgraded to a studio in San Bernardino, but now the COVID has come in and we can't use the studio in San Bernardino. So I think we can now. I got to go check that out because everything's kind of going back to normal, so they say, but I don't know how they're going to do that, using things. But anyway, so, I kept talking about things. And while I'm talking about things, I'm also giving Miss Jempson ideas of what she needs to do to help clean up the district, especially where I live, is in the area of Edgemont, which is one of the oldest neighborhoods of the city of Moreno Valley. It's actually one of the founding neighborhoods of the city of Moreno Valley, okay? Because people don't remember this. Moreno Valley was actually 4 areas: Edgemont, Sunnymead, and Moreno, right? And the east. But they forgot Arnold Heights March Air Force Base was a part of that as well, okay? So when people say there was 3 parts, there's actually 4 if you read the Butterfield Express, which used to be the local newspaper here. So anyway, 2 years go by, she's in her thing, and then the story comes out that she had grand theft. And I'm on my show, and I know politics, and how she ended up losing her seat was the fact that that story came out. And one thing about voters is they can look and smile you in the face and tell you, oh yeah, we support you, just like Trump, grab him by the pussy. Remember that? But white women still voted for him. Democratic white women still voted for him over Hillary Clinton because the Democrats ran a very terrible candidate against a very terrible Republican candidate. You know what I mean? She was that much disliked. And even though Donald Trump is talking about grabbing him by the pussy, white women still went and voted for Trump. And, 80% of black people voted for Hillary, But, so we have a flawed candidate now. So this story comes out, and now we're running for 4 years, right? And it's the same people again, myself, Chris Baca, Victoria Baca's coming back because now she is armed with this information of grand theft in a bank, which by my definition is bank robbery, okay? And so Ladonna's listening to my show. All these people that don't listen to my show, but they listen to my show, but they don't listen to my show, they can quote everything that I say on it. And so she's listening to the show and she chimes in and she says, hey, get my story correct, get my facts correct. And one thing about baby boomers is they love to shape the narrative to fit what they want it to believe. Bitch, don't tell me what and how I am going to depict you on my show. Because if you read the press enterprise, it says bank robbery, grand theft, bank robbery, whatever it is. You could look at the articles. But see, she doesn't like that because it doesn't sound good. But what she doesn't realize is if you keep running away from the fact that your grand theft happened in a bank, which means, simple definition, you're a bank robber, that's what Victoria Baca is going to use to beat you. Period. Get out there, tell your story, make sure that people know. Because see, what Miss Jempson keeps forgetting to tell you guys is when that story broke, I went to her office and I told her, you need to step down right now and leave the office, leave the office open. But no, she knows better than everybody. You guys have really got to have been there to see how the power went to her head. Oh, I'm a council member. Denise Fleming just couldn't stand it that, Ladonna was a council member and she was nothing. You know what I mean? Because, Denise Fleming just feels that she's better than everybody else and she's smarter than everybody else. She's just a leader. Bitch, go sit your ass down. And that's another person that's on my radar that I helped defeat. And anytime that I get word that Denise Fleming is running for an office, I am going to be there to make sure people know what Denise Fleming is about. The bitch is from Chicago, so she thinks because she's from Chicago, she's got some type of Obama-esque heritage. Obama didn't do shit for black people, and neither will Denise Fleming. But she's not running for anything that I'm aware of right now, so the story's really not about her. But that is one of the flaws in Ladonna Jempson. She will not take direction from people that know better than she does. She keeps forgetting to tell you guys anything that she did in District 1 and in pertaining to the Edgemont area came from me. I was telling her what to do. We need crosswalks. We need this. We need that. Slumlords over here. Look at this shit. That was me. And I'm not telling you guys this to pat myself on the back. I'm telling you this to show you what kind of a candidate that if you elect this woman, what you're going to be in for. Do you think a 70 or 60, let me be fair. Do you think a 65-year-old woman person actually gives a damn about millennials and Generation Xers and Generation Z? Do you really think they care? She retired from her HR job. She's got her husband. She's got her kids, her grandkids. I'm not sure if she has I don't know. But you know what I mean? Do you think she gives a shit? This is all about popularity and her friends. And, I don't think she has any ideas because even when I ask her to this very day, come on the show, tell us your platform. She hasn't shown up yet. But she's one of those people that thinks she knows better than you do. She's going to, have these great ideas. You guys please tell me somebody who's born in 1950, right? Half a century before 2000. What kind of ideas can they have for the 21st century? I'm 50 years old myself. And I think that I'm too old to run for office. And I've been asked to run for office again. But I ran in a recall election. I ran in a general election. The people have made their choice. I'm smart enough to know not to become a walking joke. I'm smart enough to know that. We got this other lady, Mary McBean. She's running again to split the vote. This lady is 70, 80 years old. Go sit down somewhere. We need new candidates. You keep seeing the same people popping up. So I know you guys are listening to me right now and you're saying, well, you're still, doing your show and you're still talking shit and all this other stuff. But see, I do that to inform people about what's going on. That's what I bring to the community. And that's not a bad thing. Because the people need to be informed. So what's wrong with that? I mean, that's what I can do for the community. And point out bad candidates and point out candidates that have your back. Miss Jempson had her time on the dais. She is going to get her brains beat in based on being a damn bank robber. Period. But I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no clue what I'm talking about. So here I am, not really wanting to help you, but I'm trying to help you the best way I can. And you think you're going to come on my show and shape the narrative the way you wanted to do it. So what I did on the show was I went and looked up the word grand larceny, grand theft, whatever it is. She said it was grand theft. Sounds like a bank robber to me, taking property out of a bank. That would be bank robbery. What's the difference? But see how she wants to change that narrative? The average person doesn't care about the vernacular that you use. You have to simplify it in a way that they're going to understand it and the way that your opponent is going to use it. And they're going to call you a bank robber because that's what they did in the press enterprise. That's what they did previously. And you lost that seat and you lost it badly. Like I told you you would. But I don't know what I'm talking about. You see, guys got to understand that. Donovan doesn't know what he's talking about. Even though I breathe politics. I love the stuff. So we are faced with two of the same faces we have seen over year after year after year. My millennials, where are you guys at? We need progressive candidates. Miss Jempson's not a progressive candidate. Not at all. She's a regressive candidate. Listen to what I just said. Regressive. Moving backwards. She comes from a different time and a different place. We need new candidates, you guys. You guys got to stand up with new ideas. These people here that keep running, their ideas of everything is, oh, I'm just going to go along to get along. Even though I don't have the votes, I'm not going to fight. I'm just going to go along with it. I would have lost the vote anyway. We need fighters. People that are going to stand up. We don't have that in this candidate. That's my opinion. Ladonna Jempson is not a fighter. She says she is, but where's the proof? There's no proof whatsoever that a 65-year-old woman who says she's a fighter has done any of that. She just wants the prestige and the position. Why can't these baby boomers just go sit their asses down? Retire. Let somebody else that is progressive come up with better ideas. These people don't even want to fight Highland Fairview because they're tired. But when people like myself point this out, we're the bad guys. How did that happen? I've offered to have her on the show. Hasn't taken me up yet. How the hell is she going to win an election when you can't even go out and knock on doors? How does she expect to win that? That's what I want to know. Am I a kingmaker? Not at all. But I do have a little bit of a reach because people like you guys tune in and you listen to me rant and rave about what's going on in Moreno Valley. And I do get good tips from people like you guys because, I understand a lot of people don't want to get involved. You guys are still working. You've got families. That's where a person like me comes in. I don't have family. I'm not working. I have nothing to lose. So why not? I'm just saying this. If the election was held today, in my opinion, Ladonna Jempson would lose. Because the word on the street is she's a bank robber. And that's what Baca's going to use against her. Nobody wants to see these people over and over again running for the same seats. Things are changing now. And the young people are starting to see that these baby boomers have led us into shit. So why would they even want to vote for this lady? But we're going to see. This is a lady that aligns herself with Radine Ayers and her daughter Nina Ayers and thinks, she's going to make a difference. I know you guys are asking me right now, are probably thinking, well, Donovan, what's the answer? What's the answer? Does Baca need to go? Absolutely. Baca needs to go. But replacing her with Ladonna Jempson? How is that progressive? That's what I'm trying to understand. How is that progressive? If you guys can answer that question, I can answer the other question. What is Ladonna's platform? Can anybody please tell me that? If I could find out what she stands for, man, maybe I can find common ground with her. We know what Baca stands for. She don't stand for shit. Okay? The woman is so busy trying to fix her looks and her size and, there's nothing that can fix that, Victoria. Nothing. Nothing. Ugmos are Ugmos. And I'm not saying that just to be mean. I'm just saying I do believe there is somebody for everybody. But, oh my God, this woman, there's no fixing this. Okay? There's just none. There's just none. Hey, Mama. My little cat. This cat is 12 years old. She's been with me for 11 years. And she's just a crazy little cat here. She's sitting, laying on her back. And she loves me to death, So, everybody knows I love animals. But, we just need something different, you guys. We've got the same old people running around in the Inland Empire with no ideas. Nothing progressive. Everybody's like, well, you're only reason you're voting for Aja Smith is because she's a friend of yours. Okay, and that's basically human nature. You're going to vote for your friend, You don't even know what her policies are. National defense. Lower taxes. What's wrong with that? Unlike a lot of people out there, I have a lot of friends that totally do not believe like I believe. Okay? I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. But I have friends that are Democrats and Republicans. And I sit in the middle. I like a little bit of what the Republicans do. I like a little bit of what the Democrats do. But I give my loyalty to neither party because they don't deserve my loyalty. Simple as that. If Ladonna Jempson wants to win this election, she is going to need all the help she can get. I am just but one vote. And if my vote does not matter, then don't worry about me. I have been contacted several times by people asking me, what is the alternative? Do we leave Baca in there or do we get with Jempson? And my answer is, what would be different? What would be the difference? The WLC is not going to be built. That's not going to be built. Not in my lifetime. I've explained how all that works. Ito is just using the city resources to improve on his property. The WLC is not going to be built. The California Attorney General is suing the city of Moreno Valley based on that EIR that was done flawed. It was flawed. There ain't no 20,000 jobs idiot Mayor Gutierrez has done. And let's talk about policy. What is Ladonna going to do? How are you running for office and you have no platform? Oh, I'm going to be your friend and I'm in the community and for 30 years I've been doing this, and that. No, Miss Jempson, excuse me. Ooh. No, Miss Jempson, I'm going to call you out. As simple as that. You have no platform. You can't. I'm just not going to give you my vote because you're a Democrat. I'm not going to do that. I want something for my vote. What's in it for me? I got a call last week and I'm talking to a political operative and they're trying to gauge me to see what it would take for me to either support Miss Jempson or lay off of her. And I just made it very simple. What's in it for me? And when I say me, I'm talking about Edgemont because my nickname is the Duke of Edgemont because I'm very proud of where I live. Because before Moreno Valley was Moreno Valley, Edgemont was its own town. And this was it. I live right by the golf course here in Edgemont. And this is where all the military people lived. A lot of military people lived. And all the retirees that worked at McDonnell Douglas and Boeing, they would all live here. That's why I live by the airline streets. It's called the airline streets. I live right over there by the golf course. And this was a beautiful little area. And this is where the city actually first started building out. So, what's in it for me? Am I going to get a bathroom at Adrian Mitchell Park? Can I get that? Can we get equal treatment like the rest of the city? What about that? All that property tax money that the city took for the benefit of all the other districts. How about that? Can we get that back? Can we develop Edgemont, possibly, and put resources into Edgemont? Better streets, sidewalks. Is that too much to ask for? What's your platform, Ms. Jempson? This is why you're a flawed candidate, because you can't answer none of those questions. None of them. But she'll be the first one to say, I'm going to work on a big senior center. Why do people with money always get preferential treatment over people who don't have the money? You've got youth running around this city during this COVID because parents don't want to deal with them, graffitiing up everything, destroying everything. And you want to give money to people who already have money. Now, if you want to build a new senior center, you should build a senior center in conjunction with the youth center so they're side by side. And the two generations can work together and use some of the same resources. What's wrong with that? See, I know my shit. Miss Jempson, this is not high school government. You had your opportunity to be in city business. You were a councilwoman and you blew it. You disappointed all of us. Now, as a person, I like you personally. But as a politician, you suck. That's just my opinion. The power goes to your head. You're one of those people. It's almost like being a policeman. You graduate the academy and they give you a badge, and you're one of those people that'll go out there and assert you want to show everybody how powerful you are because you have a badge. You want to give everybody the politician speak. Well, I just came back from Sacramento, and, the things that I know about the project that I really can't divulge to you because we were in a secret meeting. Yeah. No. I'm one of the people that happen to know I'm the master and you're the servant. And I'm going to tell everybody out there, vet your candidates. You tell me, what would be any different between Victoria Baca and Ladonna Jempson? What would change? What would be so drastic in your neighborhood? Call into the show. I would love to hear that. Just go to the Inland Empire Informer on Facebook and just leave a comment. I would love to hear what you got to say about that. Do you hear Ladonna Jempson talking about she's against warehouses? I was talking to Ito Benbizi, and he's the guy that owns the city, owns 4 candidates. He bought 4 candidates for himself. Good for him, Ito. And, and there's mutual respect. I have mutual respect for Ito. I mean, I don't like the idea of, how he injects money into our politics. I don't like that. Okay, but there's nothing I can do about that other than keep fighting him, making him spend more money than he projected to spend. But I have a mutual respect for the man. You know what I mean? I don't dislike him as a person because I'm not that kind of person. I don't dislike anybody. That's not my nature. I understand what he's doing. Okay? And I'm very sure he understands what I'm doing. My role is to inflict maximum damage on him for putting his nose in our politics and his money. But, when I was talking to him, he said something very, very candid that I thought was very, very nice of him to say. And he said that the one thing about me is I stand up for what I believe. Even if to him it's wrong or anybody else it's wrong. I stand up for what I believe. And I don't care what the price of it is. And he's right. He's absolutely right about that. And that's why I can respect a man like that. You're going to find in war, a lot of the people know each other. The generals, they're all familiar with each other. It's like the Civil War. That's why the Civil War lasted so long, because those generals knew each other and their tendencies, that a lot of stuff was predictable. But you never go and underestimate a man. Okay? No, I don't like what Ito's doing, but he's doing it within the law. And there's nothing I can do about that. But I do respect the man. Don't like it, but I respect the man. But he's right. I'm going to stand up for what I believe. And he said that's a leadership. A lot of people talk about leadership, but there is none. And Ito knows that. I mean, if I got on the council, if I was ever on the council, I would be a thorn in his side. Because I'm not a pushover. And he's thankful that I'm not on the council. Because as much of a thorn I am, I'm willing to do business. That's why nobody could ever say Donovan's against warehousing. I'm against where the warehouses are put because it doesn't make sense logistically. I'm against any more warehouses here. Do you guys realize that the Inland Empire now has worse air than LA? You want to know why? They moved all their warehouses and trucks out here to the Inland Empire. Our air quality is worse than LA now. Wow, didn't we tell you guys that years ago? Miss Jempson, what is your thought on that? If I was running, I'd have a platform telling you guys exactly what I plan to do and how I'm going to do it. I have no problem calling up Ito. I want a bathroom here, you know. Baca's not going to meet with me. Idiot mayor's not going to meet with me. The city staff is not going to meet with me. So I have no problem calling up Ito and saying, hey, here's what I got. Let's work on this together. What do you think about it? He gave me his honest opinion. And you know what he said? He didn't say no. He said, send me over the plans and your ideas and let's take a look at it. You know, he understands how to do business. He understands how to galvanize people behind his project. If he can put a bathroom in Adrian Mitchell Park with his help, that's going to galvanize him to get more votes and more support. Do I sit here and just say, well, we don't need a bathroom because Ito is going to have a part of it? No, hell no. Because I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for my community. And that's what's important. You know, could I ever run on an Ito ticket? No, I don't think I could ever do that. Not if it has to deal with warehousing. But am I somebody that could be worked with? Absolutely. Ladonna will tell you. I have no problem with her taking credit for the things that were accomplished in the 2 years that she sat on the dais here in Edgemont. She can have all the credit she wants as long as it got done. You know, believe it or not, you guys, I'm not that kind of person. I could care less. Remember this thing called the common good? Whatever happened to that? The common good. I'm probably the last black man in my neighborhood that has a military background as the demographics of my neighborhood has changed to all Hispanic. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Okay? It does bother me late at night when they're and they're partying hardy. If one house is partying, then the next night another house is partying. Like it's like all over and I can't get no damn sleep. But, you know, that's how it is. You know, I'm a good neighbor. No, I don't speak Spanish. You know, poquito. You know, very, very, very little. But I'm for the common good. What is your platform, Miss Jempson? This is why you're a flawed candidate. You have no ideas. You don't know what you're doing. You think this is high school government, and it's not. What are you going to do? I'd like to know that. Again, I am welcoming you on my show, my podcast, anytime you are ready to sit in the hot seat. But you, Miss Jempson, think that because you're right now, you're the only candidate, that you're just so popular, you're going to walk on that seat. And I gotta tell you, you're going to be very surprised when the election comes out. It's just like these Democrats right now thinking that they could just sit down and they got the election in the bag. They thought that with Hillary Clinton, didn't they? What happened? So I'm just saying, you know, you only know what you know. So I'm Donovan Sadiq. Check me out in the War Zone every day at 5 o'clock. I'm still going to be here. We're gearing up. We are in silly season. So you guys get ready. It's going to get very, very interesting. You guys have a good night. I'll be back tomorrow with the news. The Inland Empire Informer, Donovan Sadiq. But remember, brother, brothers and sisters.